I knew the night was going to be bad the moment I saw the look on the waiter's face. He glanced at me, then at the woman approaching my table, and gave a sympathetic smile that said more than words ever could. My blind date, arranged by a coworker who insisted I needed to get out more, walked toward me with an expression that looked like she already regretted showing up. My heart sank, but I tried to stay hopeful. Little did I know, this night would break me in ways I didn't expect. And then heal me in ways I never imagined. Because just one table away, someone else had been watching everything. Someone who would soon change my life with a single sentence: we should date instead. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the small miracles that appear when you least expect them, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world. My name is Aaron, and this story happened in a quiet restaurant in Savannah, Georgia, a place filled with gentle jazz music and the warm glow of hanging lanterns. I had convinced myself that this blind date might finally be my chance to feel something again after a few years of heartbreak. I'd lost a relationship I thought would last forever, and rebuilding had felt like trying to piece together broken glass with bare hands. But that night, I straightened my shirt, steadied my breath, and reminded myself that hope was still allowed. My date, Vanessa, barely greeted me before sitting down. She immediately placed her phone on the table and never looked up again. I tried to make small talk, asking how her day had gone, what she liked to do, and what brought her to Savannah originally, but I received nothing more than single-word replies, sighs, and eye rolls. The deeper the awkwardness grew, the more the humiliation burned through my chest. I felt like I was being rated, and failing. It didn't help that she kept taking pictures of the food she ordered, expensive dishes I would later discover she never intended to eat, and sending them to someone else with comments that made her snicker under her breath. I tried to be polite. I tried to be patient. But as the minutes crawled by, the air around our table thickened with discomfort. The waiter began avoiding eye contact with us. A couple near the window exchanged glances that suggested pity. And across from me, Vanessa sighed loudly and said, without looking up, that she didn't really do dates with guys who looked like they worked in retail. I didn't even work in retail, I worked in tech support, but the sting landed anyway. She finally announced she had somewhere better to be, and walked out before the main course even arrived, leaving me staring at an empty seat and an untouched glass of water. Humiliation crept up my neck, hot and suffocating. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to rewind the night, redo it, or maybe crawl under the table and pretend the world had paused. My chest tightened with something old and familiar, rejection, the kind that echoes inside long after the moment passes. But then, something unexpected happened. A soft voice spoke from behind me, warm and steady like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. I felt a gentle tap on my shoulder, and when I turned, I saw her, the girl from the next table. Her name, I would later learn, was Haley, and she sat alone with a half-eaten bowl of pasta and a book beside her plate. Her eyes were kind. Hazel, wide, and bright, filled with a strange mix of empathy and bravery, as if she had made a decision in her mind long before she found the courage to approach me. She leaned slightly forward and said words that completely rewrote my night: we should date instead. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. The restaurant noise faded, the lights blurred, and all that remained was the sincerity in her face. I didn't know her, yet she looked at me like she understood exactly how much I had been hurting, not just tonight, but long before. Haley motioned to the empty chair across from her table, and I, still stunned, slowly gathered myself and walked over. The moment I sat down, everything felt different. Her presence was soft, welcoming, like warmth on cold skin. She explained that she had been reading quietly when she overheard bits of my date, and the more she watched, the more she felt compelled to step in. She said no one deserved to feel belittled like that, and that kindness shouldn't be something a person had to earn. As she spoke, I noticed a small tremble in her fingers. She wasn't fearless, she had simply chosen courage over comfort. And that choice made my heart shift in ways nothing else had in years. We talked. And talked. And talked. What started as casual conversation bloomed into something deeper with surprising ease. She told me she was a 27-year-old art teacher at a local elementary school, someone who fell in love with color, creativity, and the wild imagination of children. She confessed she'd been through her own heartbreak a year earlier, a long-term relationship that ended when she realized she'd spent years shrinking herself just to be loved. In return, I opened up, slowly at first, then fully as the safety she offered settled into my bones. I told her about my past relationship, how it ended suddenly when my girlfriend of 4 years left after deciding she wanted someone more exciting. I told her about the nights I spent questioning my worth, and how this blind date was supposed to be the start of something new. Haley didn't flinch. She didn't judge. She listened with a depth that made me wonder how long it had been since someone truly cared to hear my story. The restaurant emptied around us. Closing time neared, but neither of us seemed to notice. The staff smiled at us gently, giving us extra minutes before clearing the tables. It felt as though the world was willing to pause for just a little while, giving us a chance to breathe in this unexpected connection. At one point, Haley reached across the table and placed her hand lightly over mine. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't forward. It was simply human, comforting, grounding, honest. She said she believed people were brought into our lives for a reason, even if the circumstances felt messy or painfully imperfect. She said pain doesn't close doors, it opens them, sometimes to better things. Her words landed on a fragile part of me I had tried to hide for too long. Eventually, we walked outside together. The night air was cool and crisp, carrying the distant scent of the river and the soft hum of traffic. Savannah's streetlights cast a gentle glow on the cobblestone sidewalks as we stood there, not wanting the moment to end. She hugged her arms around herself and smiled shyly, the breeze catching her hair just enough to make the scene feel almost cinematic. Before we parted ways, she asked if we could meet again. Her voice was hopeful but cautious, like she didn't want to assume too much. I told her yes, without hesitation, without fear, without the weight that usually pressed down when I approached anything resembling a new beginning. For the first time in a long time, hope didn't feel heavy. It felt light, like something I could hold. Weeks passed, and our connection deepened with effortless, quiet grace. We spent afternoons walking along River Street, stopping for ice cream and laughing at how the gulls always seemed to target tourists with fresh cones. We spent evenings watching old movies, sharing stories of our childhoods, our dreams, our mistakes. With Haley, I didn't feel like a project or a placeholder. I felt seen, understood, appreciated. She didn't try to fix the parts of me that were still healing. She simply stood beside me as they mended on their own. And that was enough. As months unfolded, that one broken night, my terrible blind date, became a story we laughed about, something we retold to friends who shook their heads in disbelief at how fate had so dramatically threaded our paths together. But it also became a reminder. A reminder that life often reroutes us through pain to bring us to the right people. A reminder that sometimes, the moment we feel most embarrassed or alone is the moment someone else sees us clearly for the first time. A reminder that hope isn't something we find. It's something that finds us when we least expect it. And Haley found me. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps more people find these emotional, meaningful stories. Special request, before we end, comment below, second chances are real. Haley once told me that love doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it breaks into your life in the middle of a bad night, sits at the next table, and says something bold enough to change everything. And she was right. Because the worst date of my life gave me the best thing I've ever known.